Hey, welcome back, my awesome students. So we are about to embark in a crazy journey of webhooks. This is going to be a really series of entertaining I was going to say webhooks lectures. But anyway, let's see what we are going to be learning. All right. So in order for us to create webhooks, which I mentioned in the beginning of the section here, we got two ways of doing this. Okay. Remember, webhooks are just a part of in our application that is going to listen to events happening within our API in Stripe. Okay, and I say within our API because it's within our account. Okay, so we can create the endpoints through here, the webhooks, a local listener, or one which is hosted online. Now I'm gonna cover both. I'm gonna do a couple lectures for local because this is how we do it first, right? We test it in our local machine, then we can ship it or install it online. And then I'm gonna do one online, right? I'm gonna get a domain name, do the hosting stuff, and make sure that you guys are doing this online, have your stuff set up, okay? So don't worry about it. I'm gonna create both just in case. So now in order for us to do it online, we have to direct the traffic. We have to mimic a live server. For that, it's kind of complicated to do without the help of Stripe.com. They're helping us with something called the CLI, Command Line Interface. We can download it. We can try it online, by the way. Okay, you can have a little command line here. You can You can try and you can play around with it. Okay, so you can see that I just and this is hooked into your account, which is the really awesome stuff. So if I type in Stripe get something, whatever session ID maybe from the application, you're going to see some information here. So let's actually try this out real quick. So that way you guys get an idea on what's going on here. So I'm going to add a product here. And let's see if we can make this happen. I'm gonna put Pedro in here, guys. It's been a while, right? All right, so let's see. It's just that I put Pedro's in all my classes, all the courses. Well, not all of them, but Pedro Fernandez. I think that's an artist. All right, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Pay. Okay, and there are other ways of doing this, and I'm gonna show you in a minute. So we got the session ID right here. Okay, let's go to the online CLI interface. And if I paste that in there and press enter, if you think we should implement this command, oh, it's only supported by local CLI. All right, so let me just show you in my command line actually. Let me open a new shell here. There we go. Stripe get session, and you can see now that you get a whole bunch of information from that customer that was just created. Okay, and this is how it works, and you can do a lot of different things with it. Now you first have to download it, of course. So let's come back here. So this is located in the stripe.com/docs/Stripe. Let's just look for it. There we go. Stripe CLI. Enter. And what was it? It's right here, but I don't understand why this thing is not clicking. All right, I just pressed enter and it worked. Okay, that's crazy. So you can install it via Homebrew, which I did. I'm using a Mac and I'm using this package manager. Scoop, okay. Mac OS, the old-fashioned way by clicking this link, downloading it, unzipping it. Linux, same thing. Or Windows, you can download the installer and unzip it and run the executable, okay, in Docker. All right, so once you have it, you can start playing around. You can log in. You have to make sure that you authenticate first. Okay, once you log in, once you press this command here, you type this command, stripe login, it's gonna take you to the browser. You're gonna, you know, and it says it right here, you're pairing this with this, press enter, it will open up the browser, and then from there you can accept it. But make sure that you're logged into your Stripe account before you do that. Okay, this is just gonna launch, authenticate you, and once that's done, you're good to go. Okay, so you're gonna have that CLI available to you, which is really awesome. Now we can play around from the CLI, from the command line. You can execute all the Stripe CLI commands. So for example, you can say Stripe open API, that has been open. And if I do that, you can see that this is gonna open the API page. And here you can look for webhooks and learn some of the stuff in there. You can also look at the right here in this docs for the CLI, stripe.com/docs/stripe-CLI. Okay, or you can go to the stripe.com and click on docs and type in here, search documentation for Stripe CLI and press enter. And you're gonna get all this stuff here. Okay, it's gonna show you all the stuff that you can use with this program. Okay, now we are gonna be using some specific stuff like Stripe listen, and we're gonna listen to our local computer, and I want the address of my computer. So /2 and then that, but I'm going to be listening to webhook.php. Okay, and there we go, it's ready to use. Now let's go to our dashboard and make sure that it is actually there listening to it. Let's go to webhooks, and you can see now that actually we are actually doing this one here. Let's go to add local listener actually. Okay, Stripe. Let me just go back to this. I think it did this by default. Can I delete this? Yeah, let's delete this endpoint. There we go. And now it's listening to our local environment. All right, so once you create a hosted endpoint, it disables this one. So now we're listening to this here. Okay, so let's try to see if we get some code that we can paste in this, so we don't have to write. All right, so because this lecture is getting kind of long, I'm just gonna test this out, and then on the next lecture, we're gonna write all that code because we got a lot of code that we have to write. So in the webhook.php here, I'm gonna open my PHP, and we're gonna check what Stripe is going to do. Is going to send a request, a post request. Okay, so nobody can actually get in here unless it's being sent from a form. No data can get in here, so which is a good thing, because we can do this. Okay, we can make sure that if it's not a post request, nobody has access to this. Now we don't have to do this, but it's just an extra feature, an extra step. Okay, now we need to get our, let me show you this here. Let's just get required ones in here. Let's get our config files in here from resources, and that's all we need, because we need to have that auto load file from Composer, right? Okay, so there are a couple different things that we are going to need. Okay, we're going to need that secret endpoint, which is going to be on, and there is a code here somewhere. When I say add local listener, you can copy this code here. Okay, and paste it in here. Okay. You can actually paste it there. I'm just gonna use this here, right below this line. I don't want to do anything unless it's a post request. Okay. So this is gonna have your test key, okay, for your own account. And here I'm going to explain what it's doing here, okay? So we're getting a payload. This is just a way of receiving data, a stream of data in PHP, okay? We're getting the file contents, okay? PHP-input, okay? This is just a way of getting data. You can look it up in the documentation, okay? And this is a way of omitting errors, I believe, the @ symbol here. You omit errors when you put this in front of a code in PHP. Now, here we're getting a signature from the server, Stripe signature, and we're getting an event. Well, we're initiating an event variable here. And here we're putting this in a try catch. We're using the Stripe API to construct an event. We pass the payload, okay, the data that we get from that event, the signature, and the endpoint secret. And then here, we using the catch to have some unexpected value exceptions, invalid payload, and things like that. We can handle that. And then here is where you handle the event. And Stripe has many different types of events. You can go ahead and look at the documentation and look for the events. Okay. In the Stripe CLI, you can look for those. If you want to trigger this with the Stripe CLI, which I'm going to show you right now how to do. Okay. So I can trigger an event here, and let me see if I can. Okay. Let's just put a break here, and I'm going to listen for another event and check out, actually charge. These are events that exist in Stripe. I'm just going to put a break here. Okay. And then I can just var dump this information, and actually we won't be able to see it unless we are listening for this type of page. But anyway, so there is a way of actually seeing this data, but it's kind of long for me to show you that. You know what? Because I'm trying to actually create the material as easy as possible. Sometimes I don't want to get you guys confused, but I'm going to do something here that you probably haven't seen, some of you, and that's okay, but just follow me, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the flush here, OB start. I'm playing around with output buffering here. We could, as a matter of fact, let's just do this. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file here with, let's do AB flush here, and OB start. And I'm playing around with output buffering. If you're taking my PHP for Beginners course, you know what this is all about. It's just a buffering feature that PHP has. So I'm going to create a file here with the content of that output buffering. Okay. Basically what this is doing is flushing that. We are getting data that's submitted in the buffering of PHP. And we are getting that data here, and we are dumping it in here. Basically, it's just follow me on this. You don't have to learn this. If you want to learn this actually and learn exactly what it does, you can go to the php.net, because it's a lot to it. Okay, it's a lot of information here. I don't want to waste 20 minutes talking about it when this course is not for that. So what I want to do is I'm going to dump that event so that way you can see it on some type of file here. Okay, because doing it in the console here, it's kind of a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to trigger that event by doing stripe trigger and charge succeeded. I believe this is the, let me see if that's it. It looks like that's it. Okay, now we should see this file somewhere here created, if that actually worked. Let's check our dashboard for that event to see if it went through. Okay, so yeah, we did a charge right now of $1. Okay, so let's do another one. You see it says 740 here, so let's do another one. Okay, let's come back here and refresh and see, we see another one. See, it made another one here. So it's not creating the file here, and I think I know why. Bar dump. Where is the event, right? The event is nowhere around. I need the data first. Okay, it should work now. Let's see. Let's do it again. So I'm triggering events. So with this feature on Stripe, you can avoid going to your application like we've been doing. We've been going through our application manually and doing this, adding to the cart, buy now, and filling up all this information here. You can avoid all that by just doing the CLI, by issuing commands from the CLI. And you can have charge succeeded, checkout completed. There are many different type of events. You can look at the documentation. So I'm gonna do this one here, charge, and we can see this file somewhere here. Watch. Okay, so I got an idea why this is not working, but I'm gonna show you. So PHP, in actually the application that I'm using, MAMP, there is I'll show you right here. There is a directory called logs, and you probably have this in other applications as well. Okay, and we have a PHP error log here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump that in my editor, and I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom there and check out what's going on. And this is gonna tell me what's going on here. As you can see, something is going on. It's not able to require autoload, so it's breaking our application, and those events are not firing up. Okay. Another way of checking that something happened is that you remember when we did the Stripe listen. This is always listening here, and I'm gonna cancel this by doing Control-C. Okay, and now if I press the up arrow key again, you can see the command that we just did, so that way we can use the CLI in our local environment. So Stripe listen and forward to, and then enter. And you can see that that stays there listening for events. That's what it's doing. Okay, so every time we submit an event, we're gonna get something here happening. Right now we're getting an error because in our webhook.php we have this set up to give errors. Okay, so you can handle that however you want, but that's why it's not working. Because this here somewhere, this vendor autoload, it's not working 100% for some reason. Maybe we are in a different directory. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this actually here, because I remember now that I copied this code from the website. So that's why that's not working. So let's trigger that again. That code was not supposed to be there, that vendor. So I'm gonna trigger a checkout, actually not a checkout completed, sorry about that, a charge.succeeded event, and now we should see that file somewhere here. Okay, let's see, and there we go. This is the events right here, and we're dumping that object in there, and you can see what that object has. Okay, I probably get a plugin so that I can see these text files a little bit better. Or we can dump it into a PHP file, whatever we want, so we can see this code better. But look at this. So we have some of this information here. Okay. Now that we are doing this, you can also check out your dash while you're listening to these events, and you can copy this event EVT. It starts with EVT, and you can go to your CLI, Stripe, and do get, and then press enter, and that's going to give you that event. Okay, it's going to give you any resource available in the Stripe API. So that get is very good. If you want to learn commands, all you have to do is type in Stripe and you should see some commands. If you want to get to know a little bit more about that specific command, listen -- help. Oops, I forgot how to, the E right here. And then that could tell you exactly how to do it. All right. So there is also another thing that I want to show you here. I can say Stripe events retrieve. I'm showing you the most useful one. They got so many. And then we're going to retrieve that event if we get this correctly. So events, actually. And there we go. Okay. So this is all the information there. Now we are definitely doing something with it's working. We are listening because we're dumping information here. So our webhook is actually working correctly. So the next thing that we got to do is start listening to this event here and doing something in our database, because we need to put information. We need to put information in the orders page. We need to put information in the reports page and so on. In the reports table in the database, sorry. See you in the next lecture, guys.